All right, let us welcome Drakkar Klose to the program right now. As you probably know, he was set to face Jeremy Stephens in the co-main event of UFC Vegas 24. And at the post-weigh-in face-offs, he was shoved hard by Jeremy Stephens. People were talking about it, getting more excited for the fight. And then we found out at the start of the broadcast that the fight was off, that injuries were suffered, including a concussion, a cervical sprain of the neck, and more, actually. But I wanted to get Drakkar on the program to talk about it, and I truly appreciate that. Drakkar, how are you, man?
I'm doing a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's great catching up with you again, because you and I have been having these chats for many years now. And, I wish we were talking about a breakthrough performance against a longtime veteran in Jeremy Stephens. Unfortunately, that is not the case. You said you're doing better. I mean, it's been around 10 days since all of this happened. When did you start to kind of like turn the corner and start feeling better?
My headache stopped like Thursday, leading into the weekend. That was my biggest concern, is my headaches. They were pretty bad. And then I got an MRI in my neck, and I guess I have a herniated disc. So I'm just dealing with that now. So.
Man, so like the headaches, so you dealt with those headaches from basically like Friday on, so almost like 6 full days you had to deal with the headaches?
Yeah, I didn't even have headaches after I got knocked out by Benil, you know what I mean? I think doing the weight cut, I only had like maybe 10 ounces of water in me before we did the stare down, and, I was still dehydrated, and it's crazy how that whiplash can do that to you.
I mean, how would you, outside of like the headaches and just feeling crappy, I'm sure, like how would you describe these last 10 days, like from the shove, the aftermath, the injury, the fight just being canceled? Like what has life been like since the shove happened?
A lot of hate, but a lot of people have been telling me their situations and their, problem, neck injuries and stuff like that. And I'm just glad I didn't step in that cage that night. One punch, it could have changed my life. Something dealing with your brain, man, you only get one brain, and you have to be smart. And I'm just glad, I had the right people around me, and I didn't fight.
I know Jeremy is a bit of a wild man in these situations. Like we've seen all the angles from the face-off. You were wearing a mask. He was not wearing a mask. It didn't seem like much was said, but it was really hard to tell, honestly, Drakkar. Like, was there anything said prior to the shove?
No, I didn't say anything to him. Maybe he listened to the interviews leading up to the fight, and, he got mad about that. But other than that, like when we faced off, I was just quiet. I was just in there ready just to, do these face-offs and get ready to fight the next day.
I mean, is there anything that maybe you said in those interviews? Because I mean, listen, I've interviewed before, and like, it's a fight. Like you say things about a fight. Like you're not going to say like, "Oh, I'm going to lose to this guy." You're going to,
to be honest. I think he thought it was, Bellator competes on Friday. I think wrong promotion. I think he thought he was in Bellator.
I'm sure you were crushed to find out that you wouldn't be able to compete. Turns out it was actually a blessing in disguise. What was going through your mind when you basically had to throw in the towel on fight day and that it was completely out of your control? Like you said, you're relieved now, hindsight being what it is, but were you relieved on Saturday as well? Like that you knew that you weren't in a position to fight, that your team had your back and the right decision was made?
I was pissed off, really, man. That was a big opportunity to go in there and beat them up, co-main event. And for people to think that I really wasn't injured, that kind of pisses me off. And I kind of want to get street justice on him. If I see him, I swear I'm gonna get him.
I think that's been a pretty awful thing, was the reaction to this from fans and even some members of the media that I saw. It's just pretty awful, pretty unfair. People saying that you were faking it, you were scared. It got to the point where like members of your team had to send like medical reports to the journalists. Like I know Courtney Casey, who you're with, like had to screenshot symptoms, like all this unnecessary stuff that none of us like should have to do in a situation like this. Like how rough was it seeing that kind of reaction from everybody?
Man, it sucks. I don't want to get like into like the back and forth with the UFC, but I'll just leave it as it is. It just sucks because, I was professional and I got injured on the job. And all I know is like any other sport, they do something like that, they either fine, suspended. So it just sets a bad example for everyone else.
So do you feel like there should have been some repercussions in this situation for Jeremy? Or do you feel like, listen, we're in the fight game. Like I would, like you said, the street justice thing, I'd rather make him pay inside the octagon.
You have to be, I signed a contract to fight that Saturday, not Friday. You know what I mean? I was at my weakest point, cutting weight. And that was a cheap shot. I had my hands behind my back. Dude, that's something when you're afraid, that's what people do. They do cheap shots, and that's what I believe he did.
Another tough part about watching this journey, and you sort of mentioned, I know you don't want to get into like complete specifics, but it did take some time, but the UFC did agree to pay your show money. You also got your promotional compliance pay from the Venom deal, I was told, no win money. You were able to get some money that you were hoping to get, but I mean, all in all, you don't have to get into like complete specifics about the discussions, but were you ultimately disappointed with the way this was handled by the UFC?
According to Dana White, that's a savage move he did. I'd seen some interview and he was talking about Jeremy as a savage. No, that's a bitch move. And, I believe I should have got paid both. You know what I mean? I was being professional. I did everything possible and he fucked it up, not me.
He also blamed Sean Shelby. He said Sean Shelby dropped the ball and it was him not being in the right position and not being prepared for it. And again, like Jeremy's a wild man, but it turned out to be the onus was put on Sean and not on Jeremy. How did you react to that?
I like Sean. It wasn't his fault. You know what I mean? We signed a contract. We're professionals. Act professional.
It seems the plan, at least as of the fight being canceled, that the plan was to rebook this fight with Jeremy. Is that what you're hearing as well? Like, I know you're dealing with, the sort of the back end of everything going on. You're dealing with the disc injury now. Like, is that what you want? Like at some point, like the next time you fight?
I would love to fight him. I'm not sure how long it's going to take me for my neck to get injured. I'm still, haven't try to do anything to get my heart rate up yet. So I'm not sure how my head's going to respond to that. But I want to get in there and fight him.
Did they give you? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because he knows he was going to get his ass whooped that night, dude, and that's why he did that. And I can't wait to get in there and just beat him up.
Has he reached out to you at all, like on social media, DM, anything, saying like, dude, like I didn't mean for that to happen, like anything from his end?
No, but when I see him, it's on. I swear, every time I see him, I'm going to fight him.
So let me ask you this, because we've had many of these chats over the years. You signed with the UFC. I think we spoke right before that happened for the first time, and you've had 7 fights in the UFC. You're 5-2. You had one of the craziest fights we've seen in a long time last year with Beneil Dariush. In my opinion, like I feel like you are one of the more underappreciated guys in the lightweight division. Are you happy right now when it comes to your fighting career? Like when you signed with the UFC, has this lived up to the expectations that you may have set for yourself?
No, I'm happy fighting for the UFC, but I can tell things have changed since ESPN's came along. It's more mainstream. You know what I mean? So they're always in and out. If I say too much, you're going to see I'll get cut tomorrow. So I'm just not going to say any more on that.
Fair enough. How many fights do you have left on your current deal, if you don't mind me asking?
I think 3.
3? Okay. So you still got time. And yeah, I mean, this division's so interesting, and this fight was a big deal for you. Like getting a guy like Jeremy Stephens, especially like with everything that this year has brought to you since the Dariush fight, like this is a big deal. And just to have it go away like this kind of sucks, especially with the situation that you're in right now. So perfect world, your neck is okay. We get back and we rebook this fight as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'm not sure when they're going to come to. I think they're going to come to Phoenix. I'm not sure when. Hopefully it's in the end of July, maybe August. I should be good around there. But yeah, I want to get in there. Hopefully the UFC books this again, because I swear I'm gonna put some pain on him. I'm gonna make that ref pull me off. I'm still gonna hit him. Like I don't know. I'm just pissed about the whole situation. It sucks, you know, and he's praised for it. I don't like that.
It's 2020. Do you feel like the sport is kind of going to continue to head in that direction? Not just the UFC, just the sport in general.
Yeah, you see Jake Paul and, you know, all these people there, you know what I mean? It's crazy. You just do a little talking and you get paid, you know what I mean? It shouldn't be like that. It should be the best, fighting the best. But again, it's a business and you got to sell them tickets.
How has Courtney been dealing with all of this? Is she angrier than you? Because listen, I know what it's like to have a significant other who's got your back. And if it was me in that situation, my wife would probably be on a plane to Jeremy Stevens' house right now.
Yeah. You know, she's taking it pretty well, you know, just coming off her loss that should have been a win. And then this right here, you know what I mean? It's just, we're kind of banking on, you know, making this money so we can invest and do things with it. But now we just have to sit back and take it slow, one day at a time. And hopefully I get in there and get my hands on Jeremy.
Is there any silver linings you find in this situation? Like, is there any blessing in disguise in all of this?
Man, my health is my number one priority, you know, just as long as I'm healthy, you know what I mean? Having those concussions, people retire from that stuff. You know, that could have took 2 or 3 fights off my career. Just trying to stay healthy, get back in there and just keep fighting.
Has this at least made you take that part of it more seriously than maybe you would have had this not happened?
Yeah, definitely, man. You know, that's my first time ever getting a headache. Even after Benil, the next day I was able to train on Monday. No headaches, nothing like that. And, you know, that kind of took a little something from me. And, you know, I got to get it back from him. So.
Well, listen, Drakkar, I know there are a million other things you'd rather be talking about right now. I can't believe you brought up Jake Paul. I made a promise to myself, like, don't bring up Jake Paul in this interview. I'm sick of talking about him. And there you are, bringing him up. So I might as well ask you, like, what have you made of this whole thing? Like, he's getting in DC's face. He's all over the place. Just every time he does anything, people want to know about it. It's so bizarre, man.
I mean, you can't hate him. He's making money. I kind of like that little post he made. He's made more money than any other UFC fighter besides Khabib and Conor. That's crazy. That's crazy right there.
What did you think about that post? Like the one guy who's been like the antithesis against MMA for the last like several months. He's the guy like coming forward and like trying to support fighter rights for the UFC and MMA fighters. Like I thought that was a pretty cool move on his end, if we're being honest. I didn't think I'd be talking about him in such a positive light, but to see that, I was like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. You know, he can do that because he's his own boss. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So
that's a great way to look at it. But Drakkar, thank you for the time, man. Like, this is a pretty awful situation. My best goes out to you, obviously, to get back on track. I know you want this fight with Jeremy, and hopefully we could see that maybe sometime this summer or at least sometime in 2021, man. Thank you for the time, and thank you for being as open as you possibly could be about all of this.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it, man.